Food security has emerged as a key issue among governments and donors globally. Climate change and soaring food prices are putting pressure on the poor and disadvantaged in acquiring food. Nutrition, too, is receiving unprecedented attention. In fact, we also know now that increased income alone may not always mean better nutrition for families and children. In a recent 2013 survey done by the Food and Nutrition Research Institute of the Department of Science and Technology in the Philippines, it was noted that percentage of underweight and stunted children, ages 5 years and below, has remained alarmingly high, although slightly lower than in 2008. More than half of the households in the Philippines are still not able to meet their daily nutrient and energy requirements. This is happening in spite of the reported high growth rate in the country. Undernutrition among school children is therefore a high priority for the government, including the Department of Education, which has put into place a number of well-crafted programs. Another response has been that of the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction, the Food and Nutrition Research Institute, and the Department of Education in Cavite Province, who developed evidence-based, scalable models of integrated school-based approaches to address food and nutrition security. The integrated approach to school nutrition is a 3-year project funded by the International Development Research Centre Canada, undertaken in full partnership with the school authorities in the province of Cavite. The project started in 2012 and is expected to end in March 2015. School gardens and school-based feeding programs are not new and are already recognized by the Department of Education, with a number of recent policy pronouncements and program initiatives to respond to these challenges. The Oh My Gulay campaign of the Department of Agriculture is an example of a program to encourage Filipinos to eat vitamin and mineral-rich vegetables. However, making gardens work at the school level and ensuring their sustainability without a reliance on external inputs is another challenge altogether. Garden teachers are often challenged by the need for funds to sustain gardens. Here is where bio-intensive gardens introduced by the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction, or IIRR, proved to be promising. Teachers were now shown that bio-intensive gardens can rely entirely on garden-grown fertilizer, and there was no need for external inputs. Teachers soon realized that such ecological approaches to gardening also help the gardens to cope better with climate change. No chemicals were used at all. After 3 years of continuous cropping, most schools in the province of Cavite are now using this approach. The diversity of the gardens are a special feature of these gardens. It is well known that diverse gardens translate into nutritional diversity. Diversity now characterizes most school gardens in Cavite. The project has also demonstrated that valuable genetic resources of nutritional importance can now be conserved in school gardens. The concept of schools serving as conservators of the country's valuable plant heritage is now recognized. Soon, the concept of crop museums will be scaled up across the wider region. With this move of the Department of Education, Filipinos can be reassured that the crops that delivered on their ancestors' nutritional requirements will now be restored to local communities. To support this search and retrieval of local seeds and cultivars, a network of propagation centers called crop museums were established. Crop museums are where the local crops are first observed, multiplied, and then distributed to schools. We might have the best gardens, but if children don't enjoy eating vegetables, then the purpose of having one is defeated. To address this problem, the project, through FNRI, developed and tested 15 culturally appropriate recipes that provides for 1/3 of the daily recommended energy nutrition intake of children 6 to 8 years old. A wide range of indigenous vegetables coming from the school garden and from the local markets were made available for the teacher to use in the feeding. With a variety of vegetable choices, taste fatigue associated with feeding programs can also be overcome. In few selected research schools, data was collected to provide hard evidence of the benefits of quality meals. Blood screening, weight, height, and body mass index, and other tests were undertaken. Data on the impact of school feeding is now available. In the school where fortified rice was used, impressive impacts were noted on children's nutrition. Nutrition education was also provided to both parents and children to improve their knowledge, attitudes, and practices on nutrition. The project demonstrated the value of linking school garden, feeding, and nutrition education initiatives at the school level. But this has not always been happening in the wider school program because local school administrators have to source funds themselves. It is not enough to feed children for only a single cycle of 120 days. It is also not realistic for schools to be able to finance full-year feeding programs on their own. These questions deserve to be better addressed at different levels. In the meanwhile, schools continue to provide careful attention to children, especially those that are malnourished. Children are at least fed snacks. Canteens now increasingly feature the nutritious menus. The existence of rich and diverse gardens is already a feature of most schools in Cavite. Schools will have to begin to forge partnerships with the local government and the private sector to obtain local funding for them to secure such items as oil, fortified rice, sugar, and other items that cannot be secured from gardens. Knowledge products have been generated by the project, and these are available for use by the wider school system and the development community. Working papers and policy briefs have also been generated. Knowledge resources are based entirely on field-derived lessons. The project is now entering a new phase where it will attempt to use the evidence it has generated to influence policymakers and national legislators. Indeed, school gardens and supplementary feeding plays a big and exciting role in ensuring the future of Filipino children to overcome undernutrition. Schools will continue to serve as effective platforms of nutrition for children and their parents. There is also now a strong interest on the part of the partner agencies who share the model that has been developed with IDRC support. Delivering proof-of-concept programs and delivering ground-level outcomes has been possible thanks to the energy and enthusiasm of the Cavite Department of Education. As a result, children today face a better future as a healthier and intellectually active in school and community.